Welcome, everyone. It's Monday. It's time for Versus. Today on the show, Agatha All Along. The finale is here. Does anyone care? We will talk about it. Plus, the weekend box office ratings for the Rings of Power finale. You'll be shocked when you hear the numbers. Shocked, I tell you. Plus, our regulars on Versus to talk all things not politics. Nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. Today it's all pop culture. I promise. Let's get things started. Alan is here. They're all waiting in the wings. Let's go. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. What's going on? All right. Everyone introduce themselves. I'm going to go around the horn.
Hi, I'm Robert Meyer Burnett. I'm from the Burnett Work on YouTube and staunch Zionist.
What's happening, guys? Dante from Verbal Riot, and I'm ready to go down the richest road.
Hey, I'm the script doctor here to help diagnose all of Hollywood's ailments and give them the prescription for success.
They've come for the squirrels and they've come for the raccoons. Don't let them come for the badgers. And yeah, I agree with Robert. Zion, yay. The Matrix and the real one.
Hi, I'm Elaine at Nerd Cookies. I cover delicious sci-fi and fantasy news and lore, and hashtag justice for Book Chani and justice for Peanut.
And who can forget?
Oh, hey, I'm Alan Ning with Film Threat. Hey, in these important times, do what I did. I did my duty, and I voted.
Oh,
What do you mean? Well, you did your duty.
oh, come on.
Not in the booth, I hope.
You did your duty. What are you talking about? Hey, before we get started, I do want to remind people that we have an election special. That's right. We are doing a special. It's called We Will Give You a Massive Election live. So that's tomorrow, Tuesday, November 5th. I'm sure you've all voted. And we're all sick of the text messages. I'm done with the texts, done with the flyers. I've thrown out so many flyers. Tomorrow it all ends, and I can't wait for this.
Or it begins, Chris. Or it begins.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I hope it ends tomorrow. But we'll be doing a live stream looking at memes, funny videos, and I'll say this. While Alan has never said anything nice about me ever on a live stream.
Yep.
Not once.
Not once.
I have praised Alan. I sing his praises. He's a great friend. Alan did something so special. I'm touched. In honor of this special, I have to put myself full screen to show you this. Alan sent me a bouquet of flags.
Oh.
Alan, this came to my door this morning. Alan texted me, "You're going to be home in the morning?" Yeah. Usually he says, "You up?" But this time he said, "Will you be home?" And he sent me a bouquet of American flags in honor of giving us this election special. So
put them in water, Chris. You don't want them to wilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I love you, and enjoy the bucket of flags.
The bucket of flags, which will adorn my background tomorrow for our special. But let's see who's here before we get started. Let's go here. And already a couple of supers.
Oh, Red French Moon for 2. Ding, ding, ding. Let's get ready to rumble. GraphWeb 2. In the name of all that is holy, hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Oh, yes, GraphWeb. Most prolific man on the internet.
And a final reminder. You have you've got like 24 hours to shop. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. The t-shirt that I'm wearing now, our election collection, the last day to get the buttons, the shirts is now. So you've got 24 hours to get this. Go to shop.filmthreat.com and check out our shirts. We do this every 4 years. It's a tradition that we just started, but it is a tradition. It's a new one, but it's here. So get your election collection or pick up something else from shop.filmthreat.com and support our work. All right. With that out of the way, let's talk about Agatha. And we'll get Alan, if you would get the box office numbers and the ratings. For those who have seen the finale or most of the series, chime in with your thoughts. I want to hear it. This is Marvel's latest, and we got a tease of what's coming. What were your thoughts on Agatha? And we're about to see Dune Prophecy, another show centered on space witches. In fact, I'll say this, a little tease for next week. I've seen the first 2 episodes of Dune Prophecy. The word acolyte is used in both episodes. I know.
I think, Dante,
Properly-
you've seen it all, right?
Properly, though, right, Chris?
This has been the year of the witch.
Yes, properly using it as a term. But I'll say I have the first 4 episodes. I'll talk about it. I can't talk about it till next week. And the first episode, I think, is the 17th. So
Is it HBO? Is it worthy of HBO?
I'm 2 episodes in. I'll just say wait and see. Though I'll say this, the opening 5 minutes is jaw-dropping because we get a glimpse of what they call the machine war.
Ooh, the Butlerian Jihad.
Correct. So you see that actually. And then 100 years after that is when the story begins, which is 10,000 years previous to the coming of Paul Atreides. But that's a conversation for another time. Agatha, who wants to go first? Just jump in.
Yeah, I'll start, man. I'm gonna say something really controversial. I didn't hate it.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't hate it.
I was going
High
to say
praise.
something similar. I thought you were going to hate it. And
No, I mean, see, that's the thing. It's like I went into this thinking, oh, I am going to destroy this show because it's going to be ass. But no, surprisingly, look, don't get me wrong. It's not a good show. Let me be very clear about that. Not recommending it. Not a great show. The thing about it, though, is the writing was solid enough for a Halloween themed show.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you took the MCU out of it, it was a show about witches, right? And look, regardless of how you feel about Disney and the message, the actresses, they did their job, man. Catherine Hahn killed it. I mean, look, say what you want to, she was over the top. Yes, she was supposed to be over the top. I thought she did a great job. I thought the other women did a great job, Patti LuPone and the other women. Aubrey Plaza, not so much. I think she was the weakest part of the show. I think, and it's weird for me to say that because I love Aubrey Plaza. I think she was the worst part of the show. I think that her range is not there at all, especially to play a character like Death, right, from Marvel.
Thanos' love interest.
Yeah, she's not.
Which
the range
said
wasn't there.
Isn't going to happen. No Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. No,
And that's
Thanos.
fine. And I get that, but she just didn't do a good job to me, right? Like the moments where she should have been more serious, she was goofy. The time she should have been a little bit more goofy, she was serious. It just nothing worked with her. But overall, honestly, I didn't hate the show. I went in every episode thinking, okay, this is going to be the worst. It wasn't the worst. It wasn't great, but it was a watchable show.
Somewhere in there was a show. Somewhere
Yeah.
in there was the
Somewhere
bones
in there,
of a
there was
good
a show.
idea. Catherine Hahn. I'm biased. I like Catherine Hahn Wood. She had a couple of scenes. I was like, damn, if everything before and after it didn't count, that was some actual acting from her. Like, and there's some real good setups. But yeah, it's mired in all the things that the MCU is mired in. But somewhere in there was a real actual show. And yeah, it's just not offensive. I can't
And
even
yeah,
get upset
it
at
was very contrived in a way of, every episode was about getting from one place to another. I get
Right.
that. But the journey was not a hard journey to go on. It wasn't.
seen so much worse. That's the thing.
That's
We've
the
seen so
problem.
much
I've seen so much worse. Yes. And I felt like they handled it fine. Yeah, the last episode was it was basically one big epilogue.
Can we spoil it, Chris? Does anyone really care? Like, we find out the whole time
Let's-
that it's Wiccan.
Let's ask
What?
the chat. I don't think
Well, I
anyone
haven't said
cares,
the whole
honestly.
part of that. I don't think
I don't
they're
think
gonna care,
anyone
but
cares. So
Yeah, I
spoiler.
mean,
care.
it was just one big epilogue, basically. The last
Basically.
episode.
Well, the whole series, really. Yeah, the whole series, we find out that there is no Witch's Road. The Witch's Road and the whole stupid song that they play a billion times is a grift
Yeah.
that Agatha and her son came up with to lure witches in and then take their power for very specific reasons, which we could talk about that. There's a reason Death is so infatuated with her. She's good for business. And then that got turned into something. Wiccan made it real because he has Scarlet Witch's power, even though they really don't explain how the hell his spirit... It's convoluted, as Dante
It
said.
really is.
By the way, what is
offensive.
Scarlet Witch's powers?
She has
Scarlet
hex
Witch-
magic, which she can alter
witch
reality.
magic, yeah.
Yeah, she can. Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I will say this: Jack Schaefer, she is better with characters in isolation than she is with integrating them with plot. Because the penultimate episode with the whole tarot game was actually really well structured, and really empathetic. The epilogue aspect with Agatha and how she encounters death for the first time while she's giving birth, that was really well formatted and done and well. It just seems like her skill set is not really into the sci-fi fantasy aspect of things, and it's more into the relationship parts of things. And I think that's why, I mean, she's technically, I think she's credited with writing probably the best line the MCU has had on their Disney Plus series, which is basically saying, what is grief if not love trying to survive? Which was from WandaVision, which is what she show ran. She has talent, but I just don't know if it's her, if there's a distance between the subject matter that she's drawing from and what she's trying to do, or if there is Disney interference, because Disney is very, very controlling of all their shows. Does she have talent, and is she just trying to reconcile what she can do within the parameters that Disney has set forth for her? We have two shows that each showed a lot of potential, but did not stick their landings. It did not really have that wow factor to it with WandaVision and Agatha All Along.
Did you pick up the whole point, though? That wasn't the first time she met Death. They had already been in a relationship.
Right,
she
right,
got
right,
pregnant. Yeah. Right. So we all get the idea that the reason the son was alive, even though we saw him coughing the whole time, was that she was sacrificing when she was taking the powers of witches. They were dying, and Death was very happy. And the moment the son said, "I don't want to kill witches today, Mommy, we'll do it tomorrow," Death came and took the son.
Yeah, it was very obvious, and it worked.
Yeah,
because that was her motivation.
Well, it wasn't obvious because I said that 7 people, they didn't pick up on that. But
really?
The whole point of this was that Death and her, everything that was given to Thanos and Deadpool is now between Agatha and Death. Yeah. That infatuation.
And also, I'm going to say the show wasn't all that woke, right? Like I'm watching it, and normally, like my antennas are up when that kind of stuff is on screen. Mm-hmm. It wasn't all that woke. Yeah, he was gay, but it wasn't like that was the point of the show. So I feel like their promos, it doesn't do them any favors. These things they do on the red carpet doesn't do them any favors, man, because the show wasn't even all that woke.
Was it the gayest Marvel series?
No, it was one of them, Mark.
I will say this: when you have the legacy media try and shape the narrative, and you have the press junket acquiescing to that narrative, you end up falsely advertising what your product actually is. And you also end up manipulating the very talent that's there to promote it to say whatever the journalists want them to say, because they think that's what the message is supposed to be to their readers, because you have them as the proxy. Here I am, a journalist, on behalf of my readers. Is this the gayest show ever? Oh, well, that's clearly a loaded question. Obviously, I'm going to capitulate and say, yes, of course, that's what I signed up for. Hopefully appeasing to the audience, which I am being relayed to through subtext by this journalist. Completely divorced from the idea of like, I don't even know. I just wanted to play Death, like that would have been a better answer. Or I want to play this interesting character who I'm not going to spoil. So you have to watch the show. Talk about the product, not about the agenda.
Now, and don't get me wrong, the show has its problems. It has a lot of problems. Okay, and like I said, it's not a great show. It's just not the worst show I've seen this year by any means.
It was the gayest though, because both the main characters are gay and they're focused on their boyfriends and or girlfriend, which happens to be Death. Obligatory trans flag in the background of Billy's room, which happens to be in the room of a lot of people in the MCU for some reason. It's there. It's just not.
So it's gayer than Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it gayer than Echo though?
Yeah. Yes. I think it is actually. Yes. Unironically.
Is Young
Wiccan
Avengers a
dresses
thing
up
still?
as the evil witch, for fuck's sake. It is quite, yes. Gay.
I had the same problem with this show. Like you guys, I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it, which was surprising to me. But I think it has the same problem as injecting the TVA into the MCU has, in that I feel that everything that happened in this show further removes the MCU from believability, because all of these things that are happening in this show undermine the reality that was created at the beginning of the MCU with Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man creating, and to a certain extent, Universal's the Ed Norton Incredible Hulk, making you believe in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And these TV shows have gone a long way toward really undermining the basic foundations of what the MCU so carefully built through the Infinity Saga. It made you believe. And what's really interesting is Wanda's kids in the comics, when she goes crazy in Avengers Disassembled and attacks the Avengers thinking her kids are missing, and Doctor Strange has to come and she kills a number of Avengers. It's a really great storyline. And I'm watching this going, I thought it was going to be difficult to reconcile after seeing Iron Man 1 that there's an Asgard and that there's Captain America who's taken a super soldier serum. All of that worked beautifully. And they slowly built all of these things up. But their forays into the supernatural have completely, I think, made the MCU go off the rails. And it started for me, at the end. Like, I loved WandaVision, where that was going, although they never bridged the gap of where Wanda went from the Avengers into that show. Like, why did she go? I understand that losing vision and all that would send her around the bend, and I like the premise of it all, but it was a pretty big leap. After she'd been working with the Avengers and after dealing with Thanos and dealing with what happened during the entire Infinity Saga, that she would have gone around the bend enough. We needed a connective reason for her to go, Westview? To create that, and that whole, they did a good job of kind of explaining it in the series, but that's when these shows, and that was the first MCU show, it started to go really, I think for me, it removed itself from and I think that's why the Blade movie was canceled. They could never crack it. They could never give us, how is there a super society or super secret society of vampires that have existed, and why did we not know about them?
Robert, Doctor Strange not showing up was the first red flag to me, and that's the one we found. Kevin said we didn't want another white guy to show up and like steal her agency or whatever. But he's Doctor Strange,
and that's what happened in Avengers Disassembled. Doctor Strange shows up and goes into and to not do that. I mean, the fact that Doctor Strange worked so well after that. They brought in Dormammu, and you still bought it in the MCU. And I just think that there's a huge, I always talk about verisimilitude, but these shows, Werewolf by Night didn't do this, but this show is completely off the rails in terms of, and I felt the same way about the TVA. It just went too far.
And Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight was,
When Moon Knight never shows up.
Rob, I think it's Dormammu, like Kamala or Kamala.
Oh, I've always said Dormammu.
Yeah,
it's Dormammu.
For the chat,
I'm
not. I often agree with Rob. We have very aligned on a lot of views with stuff, but I did not like Agatha. I thought it was subpar at best. But it doesn't derail lore in the same way that Acolyte did. I don't know that it does damage. Just ignore it and you're fine. But the fact that it seems they've set up Wiccan is going to bring in Young Avengers, and we're going to see a Secret War. Secret Wars is going to be like an all hands on deck. Every cameo. It'll be like no one remembers this but me because I'm old. Maybe Dante. Sorry, Dante. Catching strays. Or like, do you remember like the network battle of the network?
Oh, of course. That was amazing.
Shatner was amazing.
It is the dumbest show, but they would take like all the stars from ABC, NBC, and CBS, because those were the only 3 channels, and they would fight in Olympics-like competitions like potato sack and ring toss. The games were dumb, but it was fun because it was Robin Williams doing it, or Linda Carter. So
ABC had Bruce competing.
What?
Careful.
ABC had Bruce Jenner competing for them.
Yes, that's right. So the thing is, I think that literally everyone who's ever been in an MCU TV show, Echo will be in it. I mean, it's going to be, and everyone will get their moment, right? Which will be kind of crazy, but I
Pans
just,
Didn't
over
they
and
cancel
it's all
Young
the Disney
Avengers?
Plus.
here's the thing. I heard you talk about this, Rob. I got to give you credit. I think that things that happen in the TV shows, that's its own universe. It should not affect the movies. If something happens in the movies, that can affect the TV shows, but not the other way around. I don't want to feel obligated to watch a TV show to know what's going on. And
Well, that's how the MCU started. Because remember, after Avengers, what happened in Avengers, or was it Civil War? No, Civil War. Not Civil War.
No, it was Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. That affected Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
And it also affected. They referred to the Avengers and what happened in New York in the Netflix shows as well.
Right.
Yeah.
The incident.
But nothing from the shows affected the films at the time.
That's where it went off the rails. When you had to watch the TV shows to be informed, and then people, I think normies are just, by now it's homework, and that gets that way with me with comics too, right? You're like, I didn't know that this happened in this when they do crossovers. I have Crisis on Infinite Earths. I didn't read all the side quest comics. I read that series, which was great, but it becomes too much for me, at least.
What is this a Young Avengers project? Is this a movie, or are they going to appear in the Avengers movie?
They?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
yeah, but they also shut down a lot of things during Comic-Con.
Well, they haven't officially canceled anything. If you remember the Hall H presentation, all they said was, we're not announcing, all we're doing is announcing films. They showed their film lineup for the next 1 year, and that was it. Well, and then they teased Avengers, Doomsday.
Because if it all resets.
The thing is, D23 is when they announced the television, and Young Avengers wasn't even in that either.
Yeah, it wasn't on it.
And the other thing, realistically, by the time you can do a Young Avengers movie, all the actors will be at least 35 years old.
And you'll be in the 2030s, basically, after we reset. Yeah.
They've had so many projects where they're setting up this Young Avengers team. And what's the point? I mean, if them, it's all going to be rebooted or they're reformatting.
Yeah,
then...
to kill them and give stakes for the last movie and make it. What else is there?
To kill them.
Yeah, I think
said,
Avengers Doomsday would be killing the Young Avengers, because what better way to get the old guard back onto their, back on the front lines again when they just took when Dr. Doom takes out the next generation.
Yeah. In other words, sort of pointless to set all this up if we know it all resets, and then God knows what their new reset universe looks like.
Well, but they've proven that format doesn't work. Having all these research and shows to lead up to like the Marvel film, what was it? The Marvels? Several shows that you had to watch and new heroes introduced. Right. It just didn't work for that. So are they doubling down on that?
Also another problem in terms of Young Avengers is they were formed by Iron Lad, who was a younger version of Kang.
Yeah.
So I mean, not that they can have another proxy character come in and do that, but I really think that the MCU has a significant, like, we're still where the MCU was left at the end of the Marvels. Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't really count. I mean, it kind of was its own thing.
It's a Fox movie,
and now it really is. And now you're dealing with these shows have done nothing, and we've got two iffy movies in terms of Brave New World, which I hope is good, but early word is not good. And then maybe Thunderbolts will be interesting, but again, they're gonna, if they introduce Sentry and all this other stuff, it seems like a side quest to the normal MCU, and we're still left where we've been with Phase 5. Where is the Avengers? Who's on the team?
Well, and the problem too, Rob, is that they don't understand the characters they have, man. You don't introduce a character like the Sentry in a Thunderbolts movie,
right?
You know what I mean? You don't put Superman up against a Suicide Squad. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
Just had a video game about that. It did not go well for them. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it is. But with the Sentry, you're dealing with a schizo Superman, basically. Yeah. So they don't understand the characters that they even have, and they're just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Which is the exact opposite of the first 23 movies of the MCU.
Yeah.
And it's because they lost that story group that was there to consult with everything that was going on. But everything seems to be going off in its own direction. At the end of Agatha, where we left, how does that connect to the larger MCU? Where are we at? I mean, if you're a comic fan, you know where Wiccan goes, but it's as far as what they've established, it seems like nothing is. Again, we've talked about this before. It's not cohesive. There's nothing that's being built.
There's nothing really that has come about significantly since Endgame. Like, we've only got snippets of little pieces of what's happened next. It's been almost it'll be 6 years since the last Avengers film, and what is the state of the world really after that? That's too ambiguous right now, because because the shows themselves were not of quality enough to actually warrant interest, unless you're just a diehard fan who has to consume all. And that's your biggest trick. That's what you do when you want to have television shows that complement films, is you have to make them so interesting and good that people just have to see them, not because they want to be informed, but because they want the FOMO. And it can't feel like homework. It has to feel like a ride every time. When you don't have that mentality going in, or at least if you can't nail that execution going in, you should probably just divert your efforts to the films and get those underway.
The reality is that Marvel has 3 films that hinges on everything. It's Fantastic Four, Avengers Doomsday, Avengers Secret Wars. And as you say, Robert, we have no idea where we're at. We just know that these 3 movies are coming, that they're going to be the culmination of everything.
In the next one, we'll at least get to see who the Avengers are. I mean, we can assume it's Captain Marvel and Shang-Chi and both of the Hulks and all the people we don't care about.
It seems like way too many characters to juggle for a story that will connect with audiences.
Infinity War to get to all the cameos and people they need as script points to kill off. You got to have people before you can kill them off. So yeah, we're gonna get.
If they haven't seen the shows, it's gonna be so jarring.
Oh, they'll do a 5-minute or a 3-second conversation between someone, or Ryan Reynolds will make an out-of-character joke about Dormammu from Strange.
Look at
none of those characters have gravitas.
No, I know.
Infinity War had a lot of characters we all cared about. We don't care about the current crop of characters.
No,
we don't.
Yeah,
even Thor, Love and Thunder diminished Thor too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And remember when they were promoting Shang-Chi, they promoted it with your new favorite Avenger.
Yep.
And then they showed a montage of footage of the usual suspects, RDJ as Tony Stark and Captain America. Like, this is your new favorite one. See, he's an Avenger. And then there's that weird post-credit scene with Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And saying what?
It made no sense.
I still think they have to have Lewis from Ant-Man just explain every loose end that they will that is left, like Kang and everything. Like, no, here's what happened. Like,
do they acknowledge
She-Hulk? It would be so funny.
Remember when She-Hulk rewrote reality? So Daredevil was a boyfriend, and then they never that was canon. So there's Scar, Hulk's son, which they've never addressed again.
Oh,
just
that's
wondering.
right.
Maybe she'll show up in the first episode of Daredevil, or he'll be missed messages from Jennifer Walters.
Wait, is She-Hulk canon?
Yeah.
I haven't heard it's not.
But is Deadpool?
Well, She-Hulk was supposed to be in Deadpool. She was one of the characters.
Is that true? I couldn't tell if that was her being cheeky.
They said that they filmed it and they took it out.
Didn't happen. Alan, you have the ratings for the finale of Agatha just dropped. If you would put those up, and we're also going to do the look at the box office.
Now, when you say finale, though, are you talking about part 1 and 2 together?
I don't know, but yeah.
Well, this is up to October 31st, which would be
the finale.
The finale.
Yeah.
Right. For at least day 1 of the finale. But here's the interesting thing: when you look at this list, Agatha All Along made the top 10.
Holy hell!
Number 9 coming in at number 9.
It's season 1 of Tulsa.
Season 1.
Tulsa
Okay.
King season 2 is number 4.
Season 1. Okay, you got me. Okay, I was
It's
gonna
on
say,
here twice.
Wait a second.
Let me name some of the shows that beat this. The Lincoln Lawyer at number 1 on Netflix. Beauty in Black on Netflix. Territory on Netflix. Tulsa King season 2 on Paramount Plus. Love is Blind on Netflix. Okay. I saw a season of that show. It was the pandemic. It was a different time.
You know what? I'm unapologetic. I love that show. I watch it every season. It's
awful.
It's terrible, but I watch every season.
This is the Zodiac speaking. Netflix the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. Netflix. Nobody wants this. Ironically, beat it at number 8. And Agatha All Along on Disney Plus at number 9 with what is the 269.8 million? Is that minutes?
That's minutes watched.
Yeah, and Tulsa King season 1 was
Thankfully,
just
yeah.
below it barely. Like that's old.
Yeah,
And
catching up because season
let
2
me
is popular.
Variety also pointed out that episode 8 of Agatha All Along hit 4.6 million views. So 4.6 million people watched episode 8.
So they just waited to the end to see the spoiler because I get it.
So these are worse than Acolyte numbers, right?
At least it's on here. Acolyte, I don't even think some of these.
But the thing
don't
is,
even
look
track.
at what's on here. Lincoln Lawyer, not new. People are just watching. Tulsa King, not new. Tulsa King season 1, not new. People are watching stuff they've seen already, and it's still doing better than Agatha All Along.
And that Monsters series has been out for over a month, and it's great. By the way, I saw it. It made me eat cinnamon. I don't know if you've seen the show. I'm now adding cinnamon to my diet.
So let's
Anyone, if you know, you know.
Recycled shows are beating Agatha All Along.
Well, I mean, we also got to remember, man, Agatha All Along was going to be very niche anyway, right? Because the only people who know about Agatha are the people who either read the comics or watched WandaVision.
I mean,
right?
fans of the MCU.
Right. But here's the thing. The fans of the comic weren't going to watch this, right? We're talking about a show about a babysitter for Franklin Richards, right?
Yeah.
Technically.
An aged babysitter.
Yes. Who they made a whole show on. So it was going to have a niche audience anyway.
Catherine Hahn stands and Aubrey Plaza stands, and then
Right, and those are the ones who watch.
Element. Yeah,
those are the ones who watch the show.
Yeah.
Now, according to Variety, Agatha All Along was able to build viewership, so it started fairly low and then gained momentum at the end. And but there wasn't enough of them. People, as you said, people were interested.
I watched WandaVision, but I didn't. I never thought this was a good idea. You're going to do a new show, and that's the character you choose. I mean, now we're getting a Vision series, but I just didn't see why would someone? Why was the demand there? There wasn't any.
Well, I was going to say, my question is how much did this show cost?
That's the cheapest one, right? Didn't they say it was their cheapest series?
It looked good. The sets looked good, and
it was fine for what it is. I think
most of it is bottle episodes, right? On that damn.
Well, I'm saying if it was a low buy-in, if it was cheaper to make, then they made their money back on it. If it was a cheap show to make,
but if you only have 4.6 million people watching it,
well, that's what I'm asking. What the price tag was?
I will say a 4.0 share.
According to so the number I have here is it cost less than Echo, which was 40 million. So let's just say 30 million to be generous here.
Okay, so an Acolyte was how much again? Like 300 million?
Sorry, like over 200.
Okay, so that's a loss. That's a big loss.
It's generic TV then, basically.
Yeah, Agatha wasn't a big loss for them.
I mean, Script, you might know. What's the average cost of an episode for a regular television show? Like 1.2
in these days, between $1 and $2 million, you can do it well. And that's just
so,
if you're that's just like a procedural type of thing.
But what if you're incompetent?
Add another 5 or 6.
Right. $500 million.
For what you have, this show should have been made for $10 million. And the way it looked like it was made for $10 million.
I'm going to say it had way more better production value than the Acolyte did.
Chat said 40 million.
I mean, they used the volume decently well, but you could tell that they used the volume because
for sure.
Everything that was the path was the volume, and then they built some actual real sets, like all the inside houses and whatnot. I think that came with a good price tag.
Yeah, but $40 million, $30 million.
Well, here's the thing: when you're dealing with the volume, the rental for that is very expensive because they built tons of them all over the world, and they have to pay them off, and they charge those television shows through the nose in order to pay that debt off as quickly as possible.
All right, let's actually talk about something related to this, since we're talking Avengers, and tomorrow is an election. Has anyone seen this video?
Oh no.
They're killing the squirrels, killing the raccoons.
Careful.
You know, I heard it as it was coming out of my mouth.
Canceled.
Raccoons. They're killing the raccoons.
Dante, let's distract. What's more
Raccoon.
cringe, this or the
Poor
Imagine
Fred.
video during the coof? I think the Imagine video is still more cringe than this.
Since we're talking
you've been reading your
Avengers,
comments, Dante, haven't you?
since we're talking Avengers, I think some of you probably seen this. Let's watch it together. Here we go.
Raccoons.
Yes. Here we go. Here.
Mama just has Ma with broomstick.
A phone call coming in from Scarlett Johansson.
Hey.
You ever done that? Like in my phone, I will change my friends' names to famous people just for fun. I'll do that. Okay, here we go. Let's watch this together. We'll suffer.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Avengers.
Hey,
Thanks for
Scarlett.
jumping on the call.
Whoa. I think you mean assembling. I said
Wow.
assembling. Don, that's pretty good. No, that was funny.
Scarlett, it is our pleasure to come together and to get the vote out this election. Come on.
Yeah, how can we be of service? How about we start with what our voting plans are going to be, who we're going to bring to the polls with us, that sort of thing. Just
I think Kamala Harris needs a catchphrase.
Ooh, yes, definitely a catchphrase.
How about this? I'm just off the top of my head. I can do this all day.
Shut up.
I hate it. Okay. I mean, it's original, but
What about something punchier like,
oh, boom. You looking for this?
Iron Man 2? Everybody loved it.
Okay. Again,
Wrong
I think
movie,
we're
too.
just trying to get out the vote.
Kamala forever.
That's better.
Okay, how about I'm down with democracy? It's just clean, it's simple.
Okay, I like that. It's hard to argue with that. Kamala Harris down with democracy.
Oh, yeah. I'm Kamala Harris, and I say down with democracy.
I don't know if that sounds the way we want it to sound, though.
I think we just need, can we get some production though?
Jarvis?
My name's not Jarvis, but whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right. Down with democracy.
Down with democracy.
Is that what we mean, though?
Yeah, together we're going to tear down democracy.
Will you stop playing heroic music under yourselves?
I'm Kamala Harris, and I am down with democracy. Did I sound enough like her on that one?
That was great. How many Golden Globes have you been nominated for? I'm just curious.
Yes. All right, that was awesome.
This is why actors need writers.
Yeah.
They
also
had
told
writers
you
for that.
Thanos lied. He did not indiscriminately snap half away of the population. He snapped half of the conservative side of the population away because all those ones they're not snapped and they're.
Could you
clearly for-
imagine how much more effective that would have been if they had just talked, been their real authentic selves and talked about what they believe in instead of that trite? But they probably can't. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone's talked about this. I love to hear you guys chime in because tomorrow is election day. I voted yesterday in person, got my sticker, so I'm very. I've never missed voting in an election. When I was a kid, here's my memory of elections. Quisp and Quake in the early 70s were two cereal brands, and at the time, I could not vote, but I was invested in who would win, Quisp or Quake. No one will remember this, but we'll show a video tomorrow.
Oh, I do.
You do? And you know, whoever won will get to make a new cereal. And you know what they made? Orange flavored Quangaroos. Because Quake, and I so was into it. I paid attention to politics, watched debates. When I could vote, when I could first vote, when I turned 18, I voted, and I vote every time, even in the midterms. I'm very active, involved voter. But I vote like different. I look more at policy, not personality. We'll leave it at that. But
It's very impressive. But did you vote for the new color of M&M when it came out?
I did not vote there, but I did not.
I voted
But
for blue. It won.
But, you know, look, so I can't believe that Rob remembers Quisp and Quake the election. That was like, we'll find the commercials for tomorrow. I just don't, it used to be that like MTV ran a lot of campaigns, Rock the Vote. All it said was vote. You know, use your right to vote as an American.
Right.
Get
It didn't
out
matter who
and
you
vote.
voted for, just go out and vote.
That's what I've been
Exactly.
saying.
Did not
Let's vote.
mind that at all. tell, that's great. Let's, get people to participate in the process. What I don't like now is when they're telling you who to vote for. I tune out. I don't take it seriously. I don't think this moves the needle at all. We've seen other awful videos. Cardi B, her teleprompter went out. They ran up with her phone so she could basically read a statement.
And don't forget, 2 years before, she was condemning Kamala and Biden just 2 years ago.
Exactly. I think celebrities are out of touch. There's a if you could find it, Alan, or Atomic Glory, the Ricky Gervais video. I want to show that in contrast.
The
Golden
find
Globes?
it.
video.
Huh?
The Golden Globes Ricky Gervais thing?
No.
The
He
Ricky
committed.
Gervais,
I know exactly.
he put out a new video recently, but I want to hear what you guys think. Do celebrity endorsements move the needle? There are fans of all types who love the Avengers and love Marvel movies. Okay. It doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. You can love Marvel and, the Avengers films, whatever. Was this a good move? What does this do?
They're preaching to the choir.
I want to hear what everyone thinks here, and I'll find that video.
I think this might be the last year of the celebrity endorsement. No, and I say that because I think people are just tired of it, man. We're tired. All year we've been getting this, right? We've been getting Megan Thee Stallion twerking on stage for Kamala. We've been getting Taylor Swift, speaking her nonsense. We've gotten Billie Eilish, Jennifer Lopez. We're just tired of hearing from these people, from these rich, unbothered people who don't have to deal with the same things that regular Americans have to deal with. I think we're just tired of hearing from these people. And I think this is the last year for it.
Well, as someone who's voted for him as well, this stuff is not new. I mean, I don't ever remember a celebrity endorsing a Republican candidate. This is just the same thing. It's getting more cringeworthy now than it was in the past. But it's not new. It's not new at all.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Well, my issue is what I'm currently experiencing is there are certain people out there that can't distinguish between the actor and the character that they play. So for me personally, what I'm going through right now, I did a lore video recently on Chani from Dune and how the challenges of how she was portrayed in the Dune Part 2 and moving forward. And I'm getting attacked by Zendaya stans because they equate the actress to the character. And I feel like this doesn't help when the actors themselves are going out of their way to connect themselves to their characters in this. And so that's my opinion on it, that I don't appreciate, because I think it feeds the ones that are that are thinking the actors are their characters, and they are not. They play a role, and they are completely different. Sometimes I don't know. I don't like celebrity news, and I don't keep up with that. I just like what I like as far as sci-fi and fantasy stuff. So I'm not in with the celebrity news.
Also, though, when you contrast this video with what Zachary Levi did, he was honest. He was earnest, right? He was vulnerable. He gave you reasons why he was voting for Trump, right? In a very sincere way. This is goofball here, what we just watched. These are people playing a part.
This is the Gina Carano thing. What Disney tried to say, like, well, she said this and it could be construed with us because she plays a character. This is them directly calling it the Avengers. So it's one of those rules for me, but not for the.
Well, here we go. Ricky Gervais released a statement on his X account. It's 30 seconds. I encourage all of you, Alan, if you would. Here we go. I got the volume up. Okay, here we go. 30 seconds, folks. Let's listen to Ricky.
Hi, guys. Ricky G here, wellness and beauty influencer. As a celebrity, I know all about stuff, like science and politics. So trust me when I tell you who you should vote for. If you don't vote the right way, that's like a hate crime. It makes me sad and angry, and I'll leave the country. And you don't want that. Hi, guys.
I mean, I think he just lays it out right there. It's stupid. Look, this is why. I mean, look, I make jokes on X, but I've got my costume from Halloween. I was garbage. I was garbage with a red hat and walked around. But I don't want to tell you who to vote for either. Who would want to listen to me? I'm the DV Doomsday guy. Who gives a crap what I think about who you should vote for? And I even posted something on my X because I do this every year. I put myself in as a write-in. I do. I've done it every year. I think it's fun. I'll find, something to put in there. But I don't want you to listen to me, much less a celebrity. Right? So I put out something really simple here. I'll present let's see, here it is real quick. I said, vote like no one is watching, think for yourself, and if you need a good write-in candidate, I'm your man. Vote election day. That's it. You could put that. Oh shoot, there's all my private messages.
I hate that it does that.
Sorry. But
How much
look,
porn do you watch? Oh my goodness.
Oh my. All I'm saying is I don't want to tell you who to vote for. I think it's ridiculous. I think get out and vote, and that's it. And we'll see where things land.
But also, just considering what's going on right now, man, with the economy, with the illegal situation, to hear from these out of touch people preaching at you that you need to vote for Kamala Harris is I think is pissing people off in a way that will cost her the election.
Well, another thing too, we're all Americans have one vote. When it comes to voting, we're all equal, everybody. And I think the approach should be that we all, no matter who we are, no matter from what walks of life we're from, no matter how much money we all have, our vote all is weighed equally. And by using a celebrity status to promote one person or another, and everybody's done this since the dawn of time. I mean, since we've had elections, it takes the focus away from that all of us are equal when it comes to the voting booth. And I think that's the real issue. And I've been saying, people have been asking me that I've been ducking the question who I'm going to vote for. And I don't think who I vote for has any basis on who you should vote for. I've been saying everybody should be educated. Everybody should vote their heart and their conscience. And hopefully you'll be educated about the issues. And please vote in your state and local elections as you would in the presidential election, because those the local and the state elections are going to affect you far more than the national elections will. And I think, look, it's okay. I understand celebrity endorsements and all that. I get all that. But voting is the one thing that makes all Americans equal. And I don't like to see that people of privilege are being put in positions to tell other people how to vote. I don't like it.
And I'll say this, the local is way more important and affects me. I vote generally with proposals. It's all about, raising taxes. I vote no, but I voted yes to help save the Pasadena Library. That affects me, and I care about that library, a little more taxes or, dispensing funds there. I appreciate. There's another video we should show, and I'm sorry to share this with you.
Oh, Harrison Ford. I love Harrison Ford.
I love Harrison Ford. What does he think about the election here?
He doesn't give a shit.
Well, he has to make his wife Calista happy, so he's going to say whatever makes his wife happy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see. I thought I had it here. Alan, do you have the
I can get it. I don't have
Harrison Ford thing? Here it is, right here. I've got it. All right. It's a minute and a half. Let's take a look at this. So here you go. Harrison Ford.
Look, I've been voting for 64 years. Never really wanted to talk about it very much. But when dozens of former members of the Trump administration are sounding alarms, saying, for God's sake, don't do this again, you have to pay attention. They're telling us something important. These aren't soft people. They're governors, generals, standing up against the leader of the party they spent their lives advocating for. For many of them, this will be the first time they've ever voted for someone who doesn't have an R. next to their name because they know this really matters. The truth is this: Kamala Harris will protect your right to disagree with her about policies or ideas. And then, as we have done for centuries, we'll debate them, we'll work on them together, and we'll move forward. The other guy, he demands unquestioning loyalty, says he wants revenge. I'm Harrison Ford. I've got one vote, same as anyone else, and I'm going to use it to move forward. I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris.
Remember when Trump could have locked up Hillary and then he said he wasn't because it would have been a really bad look for the country?
Yep.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
He's also said he might pardon Hunter Biden, but that's a whole other thing. I don't want to see any endorsement. I don't want to see encourage participation, get out and vote, not picking a side. I also disagree. The censorship has more been on one side than the other. I'm not in favor. And who defines hate speech? That's a huge problem. But
or misinformation.
We'll be done. We'll be done day one.
Someone needed to get Harrison Ford a glass of water because his voice was pretty rough. There, what can you say?
Also, he's wrong that we only have one vote, because out here in California, you don't have to show an ID, so you can go vote as much as you want.
I'm on my third one.
They did not ask for my ID. They asked the first three letters of my last name, the first three letters of my first name. They asked me the number of my address and then to give their birthday, but they did not ask me to present an ID. That was how they identified me.
I would say this, though, to be fair, when you go into a polling place, because you're already on the roster and you've already registered, they have you down. And when you vote and you identify yourself, you're crossed off that list.
And you're supposed to match signatures as well.
Yeah, and so there is stuff. It's not like anybody can roll in, and because remember they've also mailed you a ballot, so they know where you are, they know your address, and there's a cutoff point from the time you become a registered voter. But I wanted to say something about Harrison Ford. At least I did appreciate the fact that he had reasons for saying what he said, but also the idea that I really like the idea about he brought up at least debate and the fact that you can dissent. And I did like that part of his message. No one else, other celebrity endorsements weren't bringing those issues up. And I think at least he brought those issues up, which makes, I think, what he was doing less egregious.
Yeah. What else does everyone think on this topic? And we're going to go to super chats here in a moment, get your feedback from people in the chat. But
you know what, man? I'm just tired of the lies. I'm sick of the same rhetoric.
Yeah.
He's going to take away democracy. He's going to lock people up. He's going to, stop women from being able to have their abortions and all this. I'm sick of the lies.
It's up to the states to decide that. And he's already been president for 4 fucking years before. Stop. Man, children with their brains melting down.
It's like when they keep going back to he said Nazis are fine people. It's like, no, never said that. But you guys keep bringing that up.
Yeah, and they still say it because all they've watched is clips. And if you watch only the mainstream media, of course they think he's the demon incarnate because that's all they do. No independent research.
Well, that's what's turned me off is the vilification. And I'll say this, that I have friends who in 2016 voted for Trump. They're all still my friends. I didn't cut anyone off for how they voted, no matter how I felt at the time or whatnot. And when you're vilifying those people, they are my friends, my neighbors, they are my fellow Americans. And the way that the left has gone after the right has turned me away. It's turned me off. They are not who you say they are. And they're definitely not garbage. And it makes me sick to my stomach when you see people that are blue collar, hardworking people being vilified for what a lot of people are probably going to vote based on the economy. Let's be real, right?
Though based on the economy. They'll
What's
also
that?
vote. They're going to
Yeah.
vote based on the economy. But the other part too, and this is something that's actually, I've seen this happen before when I was a kid, actually. When the American people don't really get a say in who the party nominee is going to be, they tend to reject them subconsciously. And this is actually true because in Canada, we had Brian Mulroney, who was the prime minister in the 80s. He was from the Conservative Party. He stepped down and appointed Kim Campbell as the interim prime minister, who became the first female prime minister of Canada, but she was not elected. But when she was running in the election, because she was the presumed nominee and nobody got to pick her, as they would do normally in the process, she ended up having the massive loss against her with Jean Chrétien taking over because people actually voted for the party and who the leader of the party was going to be. It was an appointee. Kamala, while she was vice president and of course is the presumed person to take charge of the party if Joe Biden was to step aside, you still didn't have a proper primary here where other people could be vetted and explored upon. And because that choice was taken away from the American people, they're probably most likely going to reject that.
Yeah, let's remember Gerald Ford became president the same way.
Yeah, and that as well.
Oh, and another thing that I think people tend to also forget in the case of these elections is it's not just one individual. The Republican Party has a platform, and a lot of people believe in the platform of the Republican Party. Yes, you have a figurehead in Donald Trump, but people that are Republican, that Republican platform has been around for quite some time. It's been here far longer than the actual person who's fronting it. So there's a lot of people that want fiscal conservancy, conservancy. They want to be conservative. They want to have less government.
MAGA's not also the same thing. MAGA's a whole little
of course, party. But I mean, but there is the Republican Party that goes back decades, centuries, and maybe not total 2 centuries, but so there's a lot of people that are Republicans from way, way, way back, and people tend to forget that as well. That the Republicans, the MAGA situation is a different thing, but I had my grandfather, for instance, he was Jewish, but he was a Republican, which was kind of a dichotomy in terms, but I understood why he was. He was a man that didn't believe in credit, for instance. He was a man that lived his life on a cash-only basis. He was very fiscally responsible and conservative, so that's why he voted Republican. And I completely understood that, even though he and I probably would have been at loggerheads, but I appreciated why he was the way he was and why he chose to vote Republican. And I think that that's fair. And I didn't dislike him because of that. I understood where he was coming from. And I think that's where we all need to do is what's the point if we're not being able to disagree or have different points of view? What kind of Americans are we?
I just want our elected officials to focus on solving problems. We have so many challenges ahead. Energy crisis, economy, how AI is going to affect the job market. There are so many huge things we have to deal with. This, dealing with sports or dealing with politics like a sports team, or actually like religion, like a religion. It's like religion now. Your political affiliation is almost religious. I'm done with it. I want people focused on solving problems, not hating on the other guy. I'm so done with it. And the one-party system, to quote Snakes and Funeral here, is destroying California. I'm seeing it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
I have seen this state take a downward turn, whether it's crime, whether it's homelessness, whether it's a drive through LA. There is more graffiti in LA than I've never seen so much. It is horrifying what a downturn the city has taken.
Go shopping and everything is locked up behind plastic or not available.
All that stuff like this.
First world problems, I know, but still, it's declined.
It's dystopian, and you got to fix it. This, anyways, I don't even remember the person I voted for. Just I voted not for Gascon, the DA of City of LA. No on that guy. Anyways. Let's get to our comments here for this. Any final why are you laughing, Alan?
I was like, that's Kamala's thing. Don't vote for Trump. Whoever the other person is, vote for that person. That's
no, but I'm saying that, like, I know, I realize that, but I want to see some actual change. So as Rob pointed out earlier, the local elections are really important.
Yeah.
So
all I care about is who did Dick Cheney vote for? That's it.
All I'm saying is when you say
Right.
RFK and Tulsi Gabbard switching over and saying vote for Trump, maybe that should just break through just a little bit of the TDS to go, okay, what are they talking about?
And
Well,
Tulsi
like
Gabbard
platforms, they're not traditionally conservative. They're one thing. They're responsible, and I think that's one of the things that you really appreciate. Because I will say, there's a little bit of irony. RFK wants to make America healthy again by getting toxins out of the food. Great promotion. Do you remember that Michelle Obama wanted to make little kids healthy again because of the childhood obesity, yet people rejected that on her? Like, I just think that it took basically, 16 years for people to
now we see the effects. Everyone's pre-diabetic, 70 or 80%, whatever it is, of adult men aren't even fit to join the military. It's undeniable now.
Exactly.
Let's go to your chat comments and questions here, Badger, if you would.
Jeff, Sons and Shadows, gifted 5 Film Threat memberships.
Thank you.
Get rid of those grays. Snakes and Funerals for 2. Looks like it's the season of the witch. Yeah, very popular. Graph Web for 2. For Pete's sake, hashtag cancel Disney Plus. Destiny Captain for $1.99. Chris, this is a serious case. Call Dr. Detroit.
I love Dr. Detroit. Dan Aykroyd. Love that. Thank you.
Pilgrim Media for 2. You're wrong. The correct answer is the All Bad.
I would agree with that. That's kind of something what Dune is about. Dune is, Elaine, you've talked about it, and your lore videos. That latest one on Chani is so good, but that's where Frank Herbert had to write another book to explain that people didn't get the theme of the first book. Dune Messiah was like, hey, I need to point this out. It's about the dangers of charismatic leaders. And famously, Frank Herbert did not like JFK. He thought he was very charismatic, very good looking, and he got us involved in Vietnam. And then he actually, oddly enough, Herbert liked Nixon because he was an a-hole, and you could see it right in front of you. So anyways, Elaine, you can chime in. You're probably busy right now, but
Frank, I think he conceived them though as just one story, Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. He had written portions of that, so that was always his intent. From the start, the intent was to have Dune as this hero story, but there were foreshadows there were breadcrumbs there that the reader could tell that this wasn't going to end well for humanity, that this was going to be a rough road ahead. But overall, he wanted to make a charismatic leader that you wanted to root for, that the masses would root for. And then, Dune Messiah, like his writing style is so interesting that, he wanted it to be this uplifting, heroic tale for Dune, and then Dune Messiah was going to ground it in that realism, and then showcase the horrors of the masses blindly following charismatic leaders and not asking questions. And so that was the intent from the very beginning. So, in regards to that, there is a little bit of a controversy there as far as to why he decided to write Dune Messiah, but that was always his intent, was to have that tale of the warning of charismatic leaders from the beginning. But
thank you. Badger?
Red French Moon for 2. Happy birthday, Robert.
Thank you. Is this joke going to get old? God bless you all.
Never.
Bless you
I
all.
fell for it before.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
It's been going on since February.
No, Eric July finding out celebrities are dead when they've been dead for a long time will never go away, and your happy birthday will never go away. Stubble McShave for 50 Swedish krona. How big of a role do you think the Fantastic Four will have for the MCU? I think it may be significant, and my guess is that Reed will lead the Avengers.
It'll be massive. It'll be massive.
If it works.
If it works,
no, I think Reed will lead
It has to work.
Fantastic Four.
It has to be massive.
So much is riding on this film.
It's the one Marvel thing I'm really looking forward to, because Fantastic Four, along with Batman, was sort of my gateway into reading comics on the regular when I was like 5 years old. So I love the FF, and we'll see. Pedro, I'm not happy with that casting.
And it's really hard to land FF in live action because they've done it technically 3 times, and the best one is the Roger Corman one.
Right, because they got the characters right.
4 times.
Well,
Fantastic Four had a sequel, Silver Surfer. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, especially seeing how Zachary Levi looks lately, he would have been a perfect Reed Richards.
He would have been.
Oh
great.
yeah.
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 And my guess is Robert Downey Jr. will lead the Avengers when he comes back as his Tony Stark variant when they're done pretending that he's Doom.
They did John Krasinski so dirty. I was so upset about that.
So dirty. And us. They knew what they were doing.
I don't think he wanted it. That's
The thing is, I will say this: I really enjoyed Pedro Pascal in Gladiator 2. And
I haven't seen it yet.
yeah,
Is it?
yes,
Okay.
I've seen it. And
would you refer to it as the Top Gun Maverick?
Yeah, I called it. Yeah, that's what I call it, the Top Gun Maverick of. Now the thing is, I don't think it's as satisfying as that, and I do want to see the extended cut of it because I could have watched it for another hour. But what's interesting about Pedro Pascal is basically his character is Maximus. If Maximus took Marcus Aurelius's offer up to come back to Rome and help him put Rome back together, and so that's who he's basically playing. A version of Maximus, which I thought was really interesting. You know, who's married to Lucilla.
Is it that or saying yes to Lucian and taking, or Commodus rather, and taking like the devil deal? Does he know what he's doing, or is he trying for good, or he knows?
Oh no, he's absolutely trying for good, and you know that
okay.
from the very beginning. You I mean, but what's interesting is he's shown as being the movie opens as the reverse of Gladiator, where you're on the side of with the Germania and then
the barbarian
the barbarian hordes. You're with the nice people as Rome is coming in on their boats about you'll see.
Yeah.
But is it an Oscar contender this year?
You know, I think it is. It's a different kind of it doesn't have the mythic heroes quest. There's a couple of there's multiple storylines going on. I definitely think it's pretty interesting. It's not nearly as satisfying as Gladiator is, but it aims high, and I think it's pretty satisfying. Although there are some times when you look at some CGI and you're like, really, you really wanted to go do this? I'm looking at you, monkeys.
I'm very skeptical of Ridley Scott right now. So
let's get through these. These are all Marvel related.
Rhaegar Targaryen for 199. Thanos did nothing wrong.
That is true.
No, it's not true because he got away all the conservatives. Where's the diversity of opinion?
D for 10. Yeah, that's true. Snapped the wrong group. D for 10. People stormed the Capitol. Just about. People stormed the Capitol and 6 people died. Trump is the end of democracy in the USA. You're all out of your minds, frankly. It has happened in so many countries before. Democracy is fragile.
Again, another lie, but okay.
Oh, look, here's a smart one.
Yes.
The Angry Badger for 2. January 6th with a setup. That's right. You can even find footage of it. All right, fine. Francisco Sanchez Jr. for $20. The best thing about the election results is that I will be laughing hard. If Kamala wins, I laugh at America having a mental lightweight for president. If Donald wins, I laugh at the crying libs. Win. Well, the bright side.
Thank you for your generous super chat. We'll laugh at it all tomorrow.
If Trump wins, he'll bring boobs back to video games.
That I'm behind.
Me too.
I've heard him say it.
Actually, I'm in front of it so I can see the boobs better.
Lord Comet for 2. Afternoon, CG and friends, I have arrived. Chris Gore and friends, I have arrived. CD sign 69 for 199. No, Rob Ford only said knee pad cami allows decent. Dissent. Lord Comet for 2. The afterwards of the voting will be more insane. Yes.
Yeah, Dante's leaving town.
Oh yeah.
Darkolus G for 10. Vote Trump 2024. Kamala won't protect you. She undermines your security. She won't laud your speech, but censor you via media and tech collusion. America strong. America united. America first.
Well, she didn't protect Peanut.
Poor
that might have been an overreach.
And Fred.
And Fred. People forget about Fred, man. Fred was right there with him.
And what kind of animal was he, Dante?
A raccoon.
That's right, he was. D for 10. You're not educated enough on world history to recognize fascism. Most Americans don't even have a passport. First term, he didn't know how to rig the system and burn it down. This time he will. All right, good for you. I hope you're right.
All right.
I always have my passport close by, and this is brand newly renewed.
There you go. I'll have you know, by the way, most American males study the Roman Empire. So, yes, we're very aware of what fashions. Naveen for 200. Excuse me.
200?
Speaking of Marvel, there was a talk about them slowing down, but it seems like there are 6 projects releasing next year, including a Wonder Man show, which I didn't even know was coming out. Also, why?
I'll tell you this. They are going to pivot. That is going to take a while, and they are releasing all these projects they need to release this backlog. I mean, Ironheart has been sitting around finished for a long time. So next year we're putting this stuff out. The movies, you'll see a change, and then we'll see where Marvel is in 2026.
Didn't Bob say like one TV show?
Yeah.
What's that?
I'll say the shows that matter is Daredevil and Fantastic Four. The shows and movies.
Right.
Those are the ones
this is called a fire sale aspect of studios. So whenever they have a backlog of stuff that they have to just get rid of so that they can actually claim that they tried to make money off of it and just do a dumping ground, it's a fire sale. And that's what we're going to see.
That's what DC did.
Yep.
Not according to Die Hard. Not according to Live Free or Die Hard.
That's a different fire sale. That actually, that movie
but,
holds up. I'll tell you.
But if they're smart about it, they'll do zero marketing, man. So they don't have to waste any more money on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just dump it.
Yeah. Don't pour any more money into refixing it or doing that.
Yeah. Nothing. Just dump it.
Oliver Laveri Farag for 5. Who knew the Demolition Man was going to be the most accurate version of the future? I'm now going to eat some Taco Bell. Well, be well.
I love Taco Bell. Taco Bell is the least bad of fast food.
You know why that is?
It's not good for you.
It's because they cook
the least bad.
They cook everything off-site and then they reheat it at the store, so you're less likely to get any sort of food poisoning.
But their meat comes in a tube that's squeezed out. That's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wrong. D for 5, Tanaka versus Kamala, 1992. Such a classic. Who remembers Kamala?
Kamala Khan.
Red French Moon for 2. Arcane 2 videos were fun. Will you do a review?
Oh, thanks. That's on our members only video playlist. I went to the premiere of the first 3 episodes of Arcane season 2. I will talk about it. It was amazing. The animation style I liked. I had some problems with but I did get to go to the premiere. It was pretty incredible. So at the Egyptian. So I filmed the Q&A. By the way, I filmed the Q&A, and the guy that is in the Acolyte video with Leslie Headland, who said, "Is this the gayest Star Wars?"
Variety.
He did the Q&A. He was the moderator. So I filmed it. And put it on our members only.
Oh, Jesus.
Videos. Alan has a ton of members only videos. He's gonna post one day.
One day.
Did he ask if it was the gayest Arcane yet?
No, it is gay.
That's disappointing.
It's very gay, but it
was good because I got friends that are very worried about this, that it's going to get
It's very good. The first episode was slow, but they're dropping them all at once, right? So, I mean, I saw 3 and I was not a fan, and
I think they're dropping it in parts.
Yeah, it's
like they did at Cobra Kai.
It's 3 episodes a week or something like that.
To keep the conversation.
What I saw was awesome. Once it got to action, it was on fire.
Shinatoski for $4.99. If you want good sci-fi about governments, A Legend of the Galactic Heroes is a war series about a corrupt democracy versus a benevolent dictatorship. Oh, my
favorite anime of all time.
Oh, is it?
Wow.
Yep. And the new version, but the original OVA version, it's also the most expensive physical media set I have is the Sentai Filmworks version of the original and best Legends of the Galactic Heroes. Yeah. It's Lord of the Rings meets World War II in space.
Well, that's all you needed to say.
It's 110 episodes of the original series, and then there's a sideshow and the 3 movies. It's incredible.
I see chat scream this every time politics comes up and someone says democracy. Charles Harrison for $5.01, that 1 cent. We are not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. Small government dictated by the people. Yes.
Down with democracy.
Down with democracy. Tina Guzman for 2. They can't even do Roger Rabbit 2. Jessica Rabbit is too cute. Yeah, we saw Zemeckis say that.
Yes,
yeah,
cute.
I saw that Zemeckis clip. He didn't just talk about that. He actually talked about Back to the Future and how he would actually like to do the musical. Like actually make
Really?
Yes.
Make
In
the
fact,
music.
it's at the Pantages, I think. I don't know if it's now or coming up, but I plan to see it. Like, so he would now I like that better than a remake or a Back to the Future Part 4. Although I read a script for a Back to the Future 4 that was actually very good. And it was very good. So it's on there's a podcast.
It's the last series, Chris. Can't we protect it? It's the last franchise.
Although the best thing is there is a video on our channel where someone had a pitch for Black to the Future, which was a race swapped Back to the Future. And it was very funny. That. Remember that? That was great. Yeah. And last one here before we change topics.
See Black for $1.99. Agatha was better than I thought. Yeah, I think that's. By the way, I would say Dante and I don't think we were saying we liked it. We're just saying we weren't offended by it. And
not saying it was a good show. I'm just saying that it was watchable. It was watchable.
Yeah.
Crazy these days.
Yeah. By the way, William Shatner has.
Oh, let's share it, Alan, if you would. I do have another topic here.
So William Shatner, a gentle reminder as we go into Tuesday. I am not political. I cannot vote. I am a Canadian citizen living in the U.S. While I applaud those who exercise their right to vote in your country, I would kindly ask that you keep your responses to me non-political. My best, Bill.
Love it.
Oh,
love it.
Good sign.
I also get behind that.
Chris, I wanted to throw out. People always say this to me that we are a republic, a constitutional republic, not a democracy. I don't think a lot of people know what the difference is between a democracy and a constitutional, a republic. And the only difference is that we are ruled according to a charter or our constitution. So that limits what a democracy is just the will of the people. And the constitution limits power in a republic to protect an individual's rights. Whereas a democracy is simply the will of the majority.
Otherwise, you'd be the tyranny of the majority, and so it's
that is exactly right. That's why, and that's basically the difference.
Yeah, right. Which is why we have the filibuster, and why
they conflate democracy with the fact that it's the individual's right to vote to dictate how those seats are taken in your House and in the federal and all that stuff. It's not a 1-to-1 on a national level. That's right. By reason. We have the same thing in Canada, except we have a House of Parliament as opposed to an electoral college, which operates very similarly.
Which is why they should bring civics back in school.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be nice.
100%.
That wood shop.
I want to switch topics. I agree. I took wood shop. I wood shop and metal shop. It's great. Here's something you didn't think you were going to talk about today. The first image from the Cliffhanger reboot has dropped. And I'm going to share it with you now. We're getting our first glimpse into Cliffhanger. And here it is.
Stallone, right? Big and
gender swapped. It's the latest version of the live action thriller stars Lily James from Iron Claw.
I'm in.
Lily James is
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Pierce Brosnan. The film is directed by Jaume Collet Serra,
who's a lot of fun.
Whose many box office hits include Nonstop, The Shallows, which I've seen the movie The Shallows, and Run All Night. This high adrenaline action thriller is based on a story by Anna Lily Amirpour, and they currently filming is underway in Munich and Italy. So they're Germany and Italy. They are shooting this. I received a press release. So there's the image. What I wanted to say about this is why are we running out of IP? No one was saying, why don't they remake Cliffhanger? I could care less. It's a female-centered thing, whatever. That doesn't matter.
Did she drop her boyfriend at the beginning?
I'm sure.
Yeah, that would be a little based, Robert, right? She just, sorry. What's wrong?
Pardon me. did she drop her girlfriend at the beginning?
Right. There you go. There you go.
All I'm saying is, are we running out of IP? And
Yes.
I don't
No.
care if they ruin this. I was never a Cliffhanger fan. There's no pop culture footprint.
Didn't this bring
of
back Stallone?
Cliffhanger was a great
Cliffhanger?
action movie, though.
You know, it was a great movie. No merch. No, we're not waiting. Are we waiting for the 4K? I really don't care.
No.
It was a fun movie with Sly Stallone, and I enjoyed it for what it was.
Here's
Are
the
we
important
ru-
question. Here's
There's-
the important question. What is the box office difference between a cliffhanger reboot or a mountain climbing thriller?
Negligible at this point.
I'm not going to go see
how much more
Mountain
money
Climbing
will
Clinger,
you bring in?
but
how
I'll
much
watch
more money will you
Cliffhanger.
bring in having it as a cliffhanger reboot versus just a regular mountain climbing thriller?
Yeah, probably more.
Well, I want you guys to discuss, one, what do we think about this? And two, when does the bottom of the barrel, when have we hit the bottom of the barrel?
Look, if
Because-
this is going straight to streaming, I'd be like, fine, whatever, because streaming, right? I like Lily James. I really dug Baby Driver. I thought it was a great film, and she was good in it. And I like her as an actress. I think this though is stupid. This is just dumb. No one wants this. No one's going to pay money for this. This is going to be in the theater for 2 weeks and then gone.
It's going to go right up there with the Point Break remake.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So what? Pierce Brosnan
and the Total Recall
Point Break
remake and all the others, because I'll put it to you this way: never underestimate how low a Hollywood executive will go when it comes to finding the bottom of a barrel. Because they're terrified to do anything fresh and exciting.
But
They
also,
absolutely are.
they don't like what the charm of the first Cliffhanger, the original Cliffhanger, was that you had Sylvester Stallone versus an over-the-top John Lithgow, right? Like that's what made it fun.
Directed by
That's what
Rennie
made it
Harlan
crazy,
at his
right?
peak.
Yes, exactly.
What if we call it Tomb Raider? Just say she's Lara Croft.
I guarantee you what they're going to do is they're going to make this too serious, right? Because they want you to take her serious, and it's going to lose all the charm of the original film.
Well, I like what I see. That's all I'll say.
Well, sure,
wait,
yeah.
Michael Rooker was a big part of that first movie. So who are they going to get for that?
Well, are they gonna? Are we running out of things to reboot? And where are we gonna get? Where's my Krull reboot? Where's my Black Hole? Where's my Black
Zardoz, you
Hole?
cowards.
Oh,
Black
dude, I've been
Hole
pushing
reboot.
Zardoz for a while
Wait,
now.
Zardoz.
Yes.
By the way,
Alex
I watched-
Garland directing a Zardoz remake.
The penis is evil.
I watched Zardoz recently. I forgot there is a lot of sex in that film.
Oh, that movie's awesome.
The
Come
gun
on.
is
I mean, I'm not
good.
complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like,
It's great.
I didn't. My memory of it wasn't a lot of sex, right? So,
Oh
yeah,
no.
I bought it digital.
I mean, they're doing a Barbarella remake, which I'm all for.
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney, are you kidding me? I'm all on it.
Well,
I
yeah,
just-
she took over the reins from
So
Drew
I think the
Barrymore.
answer is no. There'll always
Just
be
go
enough to
farther
reboot
back in
and
the
remake.
past.
Are there
Yeah.
other properties that are maybe better? I think Krull. I love Krull. I think it's a guilty pleasure. It's sort of part science fiction, part fantasy, Lord of the Rings. It's romantic. It's got a great villain, the Glaive. I love.
Oh, the Glaive. Come on, man.
I want a Glaive. I want a Glaive.
Chris, did you
Well,
ever
Chris,
buy
if
your
you're gonna
kids
go
one of
back
those
to that-
visions? Oh, never mind. Go ahead.
If
What's
you go
that?
back to that era, why don't we let's do Yor, the Hunter.
Oh,
from
God.
Forbidden
I was
Zone.
gonna say that.
Let's do Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden Zone.
Ice Pirates.
Metal Storm, the destruction of Jared Sin. They brought back Metal Storm in the Fall Guy. Let's go back and just do all, or let's do Forbidden World, and let's remake Galaxy of Terror and get James Cameron to work on it again too.
Let's
Why
do
not?
Moon Base 02. I mean,
Moon Zero 2.
that's a
Star
great
Crash.
yes,
Star Crash.
Star Crash.
No,
You want to know how
don't
destroyed
you
they
ever.
are?
Star Crash is sacrosanct. Star Crash is the greatest thing ever. Do not touch it. No.
But
Leave it
are
be.
there other? How about Saturn V? That would be
Saturn 3.
or Saturn
Saturn
3.
III.
What am I saying?
Saturn V is the rocket that got us to space. Yeah.
That's
We're
right.
making
I
movies
gotta
on children's
confuse the real
toys
one.
now. When I was a kid, I had a little Vision viewer. It's a little, you put a thing in it, and every time you changed it would be a different picture. That's going to be a movie now.
Oh, the Viewfinder. Yeah.
The viewfinder thing. Yeah, that's going to be a movie now. So I think that shows
Viewmaster.
you. Oh my
Viewmaster,
God, we're
that's right.
screwed.
Monopoly's going to be a movie as well. Uno.
Yeah, Jim Carrey better be in that.
They are doing Enemy Mine coming from Terry Metalis.
Yep.
That's happening.
Well,
that I'm interested in.
I think
So-
there's something to like rebooting or remaking something that maybe was a flop when it first came out or wasn't very well received with critics or commercially. That I can more readily see if they to do a new take and try to get it to have that audience and commercial success. But
Yeah,
if it's
Battlefield
already
Earth,
successful,
that would
there's
be-
less of a chance.
Ooh, Battlefield Earth. would be
See,
good.
Battlefield Earth.
You're
God.
saying what the definition of a remake is, which is, oh, it didn't work the first time. Let's remake it and try again. That is what you're supposed to be doing with a remake.
Yeah. Or it was good, but could have been better because the technology was lacking, at the time, and now you can do it in its full glory.
But if it's already beloved and well known in like pop culture, like even ones that fell flat commercially, like Tron or The Last Starfighter, I think
Tron,
people
how
would
dare
more-
you, woman?
Hey, Tron Legacy.
No,
was
commercially, it did. No, commercially, it didn't do well, but became a cult
Disney.
favorite. It became very well known in pop culture, but at the time, it was underrated. The people didn't realize like what they had. But I think for those things, people are more readily will accept a sequel, a continuation, sort of a reboot. And that if you're going to introduce a new, like Tron Legacy, if you're going to introduce a new generation, I think that's the way to go. I'm not familiar with Cliffhanger, so I've seen Vertical Horizon. Is it similar?
Watch the first one. No, watch the first one. It's
Yeah,
good.
definitely watch it. It's worth the original's worth the watch.
Long and
should get-
short,
Cliffhanger's worth
Stallone is stopping some people that rob some money, and it gets lost on the mountain, and they force him to help them find the lost money. And
Or
it's
you
got a
could
whole
just
catharsis he has to go through.
What about remaking movies that weren't as good as they should have been? Like, let's get Wesley Snipes to remake Passenger 57.
No,
and all you
Blade.
need to do is keep him
In
saying,
Blade.
always bet on black.
Yeah.
What about Last Starfighter? There was talk of
There was
trying
talk
to
of
reboot
that.
Of a sequel, yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of a sequel reboot-ish.
Wait, are they still doing it?
I thought
I haven't heard any
Isn't that
news
the next
about
Star
it.
Wars TV show?
Yeah, the Skeleton Crew is a little Last Starfighter inspired.
Wasn't
Well,
Gareth?
they find a spaceship instead of play a video game that with the best players, so they get actually recruited.
It's more Space Cases, actually, if you saw that Nickelodeon show way back when.
Well,
Yeah.
I think Gareth Edwards was actually attached to the development of the original creator of the Last Starfighter sequel, but I haven't yet to hear anything from that. I don't think anything got greenlit, unfortunately. But
See, I think of a lot of films, that one deserves a remake. The Last Starfighter should have been remade.
Especially with gaming what it is now.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
They sort of did that with Stargate Universe, where one of the kids was recruited because of how good he was. He solved some puzzles in an MMO, but yeah, that's definitely out for a
Well,
remake.
Gran Turismo was that as well.
don't
Kind of,
remake
yeah.
Stargate. No.
I
no,
will
no.
say we do have a
No,
lot
don't
of
remake
IP.
Stargate. Say-
There's still a great deal of IP from the 20s, 30s, and 40s that is ripe for potential. Like I would love to see a Doc Savage, Man of Bronze set of stories.
Or Charlie Chan. I would love to-
And,
No, there's no way. Alan, that will never happen, dude. That will
you've
never
got the
happen.
Doc Savage movie
you
already,
cast
too.
a black
Yeah.
man as Charlie Chan.
You know how racist that would be?
Do it.
Well, what about it? To go back on Scripty's comment, what about a Thin Man reboot?
Ooh. Ooh.
I
You
don't
know, Nick and Nora Charles.
I love those
ableism.
movies.
They attempted to do a Saint reboot TV series and it did not work out well.
Well, the movie didn't do that great, right?
No, this was like in 2017. They did the Saint reboot series. The movie in '96 with Val Kilmer that did okay.
Oh no, there was the movie, The Saint, it came out. Sam Jackson's in it. It looked like Sin City.
Wait, you sure about
No,
that?
you're talking about the
With
Spirit.
Val,
Oh,
no,
The
with
Spirit. I'm
no,
sorry, I'm
with
thinking of
Val
the Saint.
Kilmer.
Yeah, Val
No,
Kilmer did the
that's
Saint in like
Saint,
1995.
Spirit, two different
96.
things. Yeah, The
They
Saint.
attempted to reboot it as a television series in like the 2017 or 18 or something of that nature. Didn't work.
Yeah.
But that's originally a Roger Moore series, which was fantastic in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Thin Man series, I think you'd have to set it though. It had to be a period piece. I can't imagine it being like a modern day Nick and Nora. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Nothing.
a lot of these things are products of their time. What I don't understand is like Cliffhanger came out over 30 years ago.
Like 93?
So yeah, I think about 93, 92. I think that who is this audience for? Who is it? I mean, after Top Gun Maverick, everybody thinks that you can go back. Top Gun Maverick is a singular entity. You know, that's a film that really has endured from that time. It's a perennial favorite. So you make Maverick and it works, but everybody's going back and thinking. I mean, Cliffhanger was essentially in the wake. It was like it's Die Hard on a mountain, like Under Siege was Die Hard on a battleship, and that whole group of films was a response to Die Hard. Sudden death, Die Hard in a hockey stadium, you know, or hockey rink. I mean, it's and now you're remaking something that was a derivation of the Die Hard franchise, and it's like, for whom? So, who's watching this now?
Even Speed was Die Hard on a bus.
Die Hard on a bus.
Like, really,
from the same studio that brought you Die Hard.
You know what I want to see?
Directed by the man who shot Die Hard.
But one of the better versions of that derivative, I will say.
Absolutely, 100%.
They have tried to remake this for years. I am a huge fan of Flash Gordon. I loved the old serial with Buster Crabbe. Watched it as a kid, all three of the serials as a kid. When the Sam Jones movie came out, I saw a rough cut of the movie. They did a test group in Detroit. I saw it almost a year before it came out. I saw it with unfinished effects and lots of extra scenes. It's crazy. And I would love to see it. I'm sure we can't do it now because of what it represents. But that story of Flash Gordon is more timely now than ever. A totalitarian leader distracting the various kingdoms of Mongo and making them fight amongst each other to not recognize who the enemy is. But if they do it, Alan Ing could take the role of Flash. Here he is.
These things are so cursed.
Right here. You could be also Ing the Merciless.
Wasn't Taika Waititi attached to a Flash Gordon reboot?
I hope not.
I've heard that. But it's caught up in, I mean, Flash Gordon was the thing that George Lucas wanted to make, and the issues with getting the rights was such a hassle. He made Star Wars. So that looks just like.
But you know what though? Instead of redoing a classic like Flash Gordon, why not remake Buck Rogers, man?
Yeah,
there was talk of that too, wasn't there?
I mean, we kind of got Buck Rogers Begins with Interstellar. I mean, let's be honest, that was Buck Rogers Begins.
In a way,
the whole Interstellar movie. But no, remake Buck Rogers, or better yet, maybe we could talk Gene Simmons into remaking Kiss versus the Phantom.
No, it's interesting because
I'm just saying.
I feel like there's talk and development and rumors about all of these things. That there's Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, The Last Starfighter, Battlestar Galactica, a Stargate, like all of these things. A Babylon 5 reboot that's like been out there. There's scripts floating around and nothing has come up. So I don't know. Like, is there not a demand anymore for this kind of science fiction, or the kind of
the
science
Phantom
fiction
2049 was a great cartoon when I was a kid.
I don't think Pedro Pascal has enough time to do all of those.
Yeah, he's a little bit.
He's the default setting, but I'd like to see more the direction of, like, I loved the film Arrival. And and whatever you think, Blade Runner 2049, the story has flaws. Wasn't a fan of the script, but the look and a lot of the ideas I really liked. So Denis Villeneuve, when he was announced doing Dune, I was excited. And Elaine, you're aware of his other projects he's floated. There's Rendezvous with Rama. Am I right?
Yep.
Yeah. He gave a confirmation on that. He's still working on it. So I don't know when.
I hope he only makes sci-fi, because I want to move beyond these reboots. Let's go somewhere in new directions, like a Rendezvous with Rama, something we haven't seen before.
We are getting one, Chris.
What's that?
No joke aside, one of my favorite books I read in the last couple of years is Project Hail Mary. That was written by Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian. It's one of the most entertaining books, and I dare say it could be, if it's Ryan Gosling stars in it, if it's anything like the book at all, it could be a huge success.
It's perfect casting too.
It's such perfect casting. It's a first contact story. It's an epic science fiction tale. The fate of the world is at stake, and it rests on the shoulders of one man. And if you haven't read that book, I read that book. I ordered it from Amazon, and I literally sat down at my kitchen, the island in your kitchen. I sat down there and I did not get up until I finished that book. I read that book in one sitting. It's that good.
I read it when I heard about the adaptation, and the people that were attached to it made me like interested in it. And it's the same.
It's Lord and Miller directing it.
Yeah, and the same screenplay writer who adapted The Martian, and Greg Fraser, who was the director of photography or cinematographer that did Dune and the Batman, and the creator.
Yeah.
So I am super excited for it. And yeah, I just finished it. It's going to be amazing. And I just finished filming, I think. So it's gives me a long post-production, but I'm super excited.
It did. It started shooting in June.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to that Robert Pattinson sci-fi movie next year.
Oh, the Mickey one? Mickey 17?
It looks really funny. I mean, it looks... I don't know what the source material is. I mean, it seems inspired by Red Shirts.
It looks similar to Moon as well.
It's a book, Mickey 7.
It's a little bit of Moon, a little bit of Red Shirts from Star Trek, borrowing the concept. They're sort of, dispensable, whatever. Like I think it looks good. I just want to see something new, because here's what I think. Okay. A lot of us grew up with, I don't know how old everyone is, but we grew up with some beloved franchises. No yawning, Alan. Beloved franchises. And now we're seeing them all get rebooted. When Gen Z reaches the age we are now, what will they want to see rebooted? What will they have? What will their stories be?
Agatha and Acolyte rebooted. It's gonna be great.
Well,
I'm being serious.
Chris, that's a really good. I mean, part of the reason that movies are where they're at now is because Gen Z doesn't care about them.
Yes.
We don't have a world where movies hold the same place that they held 30 or 40 years ago.
Right.
And now it's more gaming and it's user generated content.
Oh, that's next. Yeah. Video game movies.
And I don't think that it's wrong. We're just going through a different period. I mean, movies were really the art form of the 20th century. And now everything is blown apart in terms of what people are interested in. But
they care more about anime than they do movies. So
but I don't think movies have the same. I mean, movies were the end all be all in terms of pop culture, and even the confluence of movies and music was a big deal. John Hughes knew this. When you put Simple Minds in Breakfast Club, that song carried as much weight as the movie did, and people have memories. That song lived beyond the film, and we don't have that anymore. We don't have pop culture dovetailing from one medium into another and both of them working together to promote. It's everything. Everybody's listening to a million different things. There's nothing that solidifies. Everybody went and saw Back to the Future. Everybody went and saw Star Wars. Everybody went and saw Ghostbusters.
Well, Rob, that's because we had writers back then. We had actual writers, man. People who could write stories.
Well, no, we had people who would invest in them too. More importantly, like that's the other part. Who's there to invest in the writers of today? They're few and far between.
And people that would say yes. That was one of those articles saying how a lot of the executives in Hollywood feel trapped, and these are the 40s and 50-year-olds, because instead of retiring, everyone is holding on to power. So all the ballsy, we'll take a risk to get ahead. They don't have any power because it's the sexagenarians or whatever the hell it's called.
But also,
they have to ask permission for.
What's really missing that movies had is that there was an earnestness to storytelling. Now everything is it's filled with snark. Like if you go back and you watch, whether it's Pretty in Pink or it's Derivation, Some Kind of Wonderful, those movies had heart and soul, and they were not just snarky kids being snarky. These were real kids, and there were stories being told that were imbued with romance and real emotion and pathos. Now it's like we don't even know how to deal with that anymore. Everything you watch, kids are the coolest people in the room, and they know more than everybody else. It's that Bart Simpson effect that's been going on.
Well, blame Joss Whedon for that.
Well, no, I do. That's why Star Trek is terrible. Everybody is trying to write Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yes,
everybody, but now it's been amped up, and you get the euphoria. You can go as far as Bret Easton Ellis did all the time, and it's just there's nothing earnest about it. There's nothing uplifting. There's nothing. It's unfortunate.
The death of romance is something that Elaine and I commented. We were chatting, DMing your latest video about Chani and what you said. Maybe you can explain it, because, for example, the movie, I know, Rob, you love this movie too, Logan's Run. Okay. It's hard
Which they've tried to remake for 30 years.
Yes. It's hard to recommend that to someone now because the effects they're kind of cringe. A lot of it is not great. The score is amazing. The story I love. The chemistry between Logan and Jessica, Jenny Agutter and Michael York, is so palpable.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful love story. But I feel like you're right. Part of earnestness is being emotionally vulnerable. And that's what made Logan's Run so good. I mean, I miss romance in movies. It is a motivator. Luke Skywalker was so entranced with the image of a princess. He was risking life and limb for this girl who later turned out to be his sister. But that was a motivating factor for Luke, was a chick, right? But Elaine, if you would mention and plug your latest video, everyone should watch it.
Yeah, well, it's talking about the challenges ahead for adapting Dune Messiah, because Dune Part 2 really takes some creative liberties with the character of Chani, and she is just completely different as written, and the way they ended it is so different from the book. It just creates something that's going to be a significant challenge to overcome if we're going to have any semblance of a faithful adaptation of Dune Messiah, but also the challenge of, just from a viewer perspective, if she just, as the character is portrayed, it doesn't make sense that she would just be on board and at Paul's side with how they've portrayed her. So it also runs the risk of kind of being jarring to the audience, she's going to come around because Paul Atreides said that. She's going to come around. But as they portrayed her character, that really doesn't make sense so far for that not to be a challenge for them to overcome. But yeah, for Dune fans, it's really even more so, because their relationship is so significant to Paul's story. And I will grant Denis in his adaptation, the best thing that I can say about it, which I really do appreciate, is the story of Paul Atreides is very well done. The themes that surround him, and it's very faithful to the main character. So that's great. I applaud that. But one of the most significant parts of his character and his journey is his relationship with Chani, and especially in Dune Messiah. It's what keeps him grounded in the feelings of humanity, the simple pleasures of being with your love. And when he's just in the chaos of prescience and just sees all of these futures and having all of these amazing powers and abilities, it's what is his relationship with Chani that keeps him grounded to what's the best of humanity, what he's trying to preserve. Ultimately, with the Golden Path, they're going to lead to that, but that's a whole other thing. But it's for Dune.
You mentioned that their relationship is the only light and sweetness in the books.
Yeah.
Everything is so dark. There's death, destruction, chaos, and there's this one thing that is pure.
Yeah, Dune's a very it's grounded in a very realistic view of humanity and just all of its faults and flaws, but there's beauty in it. There's what he's trying to preserve ultimately with humanity's survival. There's beauty in that, and those small quiet moments. And it started with Duke Leto and Lady Jessica, which they showed a little bit of that in Dune Part 1, but I love their dynamic and their relationship in the book, and it's what paves the way for Paul and Chani. And yeah, it's just in the midst of a dark and grimdark at times tale and saga, it's these little moments, these human moments that give you that sense of what you're fighting for, what is the best of humanity. And yeah, it's nice to have this love story in the midst of this very epic, dramatic tale. So it's what kind of keeps you going and gives you little moments of quiet and lightheartedness. So that's why I love it. It's Shakespearean, it's tragic. And I think a lot of people like it. It's not a huge part in the story of Dune, but it's very significant to the character's journey. So I don't think it should be pushed aside or or think that it's weak for Chani to love someone or to be spiritual in this regard. So,
and to be
yeah.
dedicated to Paul. Like that was the thing where I've watched Dune Part 2 many times and saw it recently on the big screen, and it really stands out. She becomes the dissenting voice, the skeptic, and calls stuff that wasn't Chani in the book. She's completely different. So
Yeah.
I'm in your camp.
Yeah. And I think it would have been nice to have, you could have ended it on the view of Chani and Dune Part 2. I don't have an issue with that, but the tone and where the character is entirely different from how the story of Dune ends as written. So the story of Dune ends with Lady Jessica and Chani. So I don't mind that they were the last thing that you saw, but completely different from where you're supposed to have left in regards to Paul and Chani's relationship. So it presents challenges. For sure. And I hope that they can get back to that, because it's really a significant part of Dune Messiah.
But I would also say, at the end of the book, Jessica tells Chani to be a wife. There's that whole, whereas I think that what Denis Villeneuve has done has added an element where Chani comes back to Paul, and we can see some dynamic there, and she realizes that she has to, but it makes it her own decision.
Yeah,
so it gives her agency, because she has to come back to Paul at some point.
She
Otherwise,
already knows. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I mean, the intent behind that was because of the history will remember us as wives. And even Duke Leto and Lady Jessica, the relationship, it was like husband and wife. But Lady Jessica too had a huge part to play in the dynamics of House Atreides, as well as her Bene Gesserit stuff, Bene Gesserit mission. But I'll say same with Chani. Paul directed her to negotiate on behalf of her people. She was in a very prominent position. So it wasn't just the way the mainstream media like to depict it as being just a wife. It was more than that. She's a very powerful individual at the, wife of the most powerful individual of the universe, but she has her own agency, as they like to say. But she also was in love with Paul. So I think that's important.
No, it's true. But I mean, when I say wives too, in the Dune universe, women are very powerful, no matter who they are.
Right.
That's the thing. And I hope the Sisterhood series, or pardon me, the Prophecy series shows us that.
Let's go to your final super chats as we wrap up here.
Chelsea M, member for 5 months. Protect Back to the Future. Absolutely.
I could see them doing. I haven't seen the musical. It's at the Pantages. Alan and I will probably go and sit next to each other, and we're straight. And we'll go see it. But
I'll sit opposite a seat. Don't worry.
All I'm saying is, if it's a completely different thing outside, it's not a sequel, prequel, it's not a reboot. It's just the musical, like Little Shop of Horrors. They made the horror movie with Jack Nicholson, and there's a Little Shop of Horrors musical. Like, they can coexist. So I'm okay with it. If Zemeckis does it, I'm really okay. Although here, we reviewed that last week. Make of that what you will. Mixed reaction to here. So.
C Black for $4.99. Elizabeth Olsen basically said she's coming back to the MCU yesterday. ? Children's Crusade storyline. She didn't deny it. I don't know if she said she's coming back.
Who knows?
Borg for $2. Does she drop the raccoon like Ace Ventura 2? William for $5. Hollywood remakes should only be for movies that were terrible. Gives them a chance to actually be better. Give Battlefield Earth a second chance.
Yeah, I'd like to see, because Battlefield Earth, I've never read the book, but I've heard so much about it. And that movie with Travolta is a mess. I mean, it's a mess. It is embarrassing. But I want to see, what was it in the novel that made it so epic in scale, and it was not captured in the movie. I'm sure, Rob, you've read it.
I did. I read it when it came out. No, it's a pretty look. Is it a thinly the villains are called psychlos, as in psychologists. I mean, it's because it's very much a thinly veiled treatise about Scientology, but the book did have a very epic quality. I mean, I'll tell you something. You know what reading Battlefield Earth reminded me of something that they've been trying to make. We had a British TV series, but I don't understand. Disney's owned John Christopher's Tripods trilogy forever. Why don't they do that? I would, if you guys have not read The White Mountains, The City of Golden Lead, and The Pool of Fire, that was my Harry Potter when I was a kid, and they're British. And I would love, it's a story of Earth has been conquered by aliens long ago, and basically we're living in the Middle Ages now. And society, we have the remnants of our society today. And when you turn 16, you are given a cap, like you have a cap put on your head, literally, that controls your thoughts. And these aliens that are about to terraform the planet have these giant dome cities, and they have these tripods that roam the countryside that are imposing the will of the aliens. And it's about a group of three boys who set off to find the resistance in the White Mountains to see if they can liberate Earth. Where's that?
Yeah.
Come on, Disney. Where is it? Make that.
I'd like to see Fantastic Planet live action.
You and I, we've been talking about that. A live action, it'd be great. Well, my favorite animated film of all time.
Same. I saw that when I was too young.
Me too.
Has full frontal nudity and orgies.
I mean, if we're gonna go there, why not a Heavy Metal live action movie? I mean,
yeah, and go full, make it sexy, make it violent.
There is a French anthology TV series, heavy metal TV series.
Really?
Called Metal Hurlant.
And it based on the animated movie?
Based on the
magazine.
The magazine,
yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Stubble McShave for 50 Swedish krona. I can't wrap my head around the movies of the 80s. It's halfway in time to World War II. Man, I'm old. Could you imagine remakes of 40-year-old films in the 80s?
Yeah,
there were a few.
Yeah,
not very many, but there were some. There weren't many though. That is weird. That's why I'm saying, like, Gen Z, and you're right, Rob, they don't care about movies. They're not into, again, their user-generated content and video games. That's it. Although we'll say there are great stories in video games
and anime.
Yeah, and anime. BioShock is amazing. I mean,
The Last of Us was really the first great example of a video game adaptation.
Yeah, I thought season 1 was pretty good. I think it might go off the rails though.
To the comment though, how about a Xanadu remake?
Never. Dude,
Yeah,
I am so protective of that movie in a weird way. I don't know why. Don't ever remake Xanadu ever.
Chris or Alan, can one of you share my screen? Just because there is a Red Sonja reboot. This is from just a couple months ago.
Wow, she is skinny.
Aside from a slight lore change that she was not SA'd by people, that she did not go down the grapevine, there's a different reason for her being red and vengeful. She at least, look, there's some abs action there. She's in a skirt at least.
I approve.
She's very thin, man.
Yeah. It's Matilda Lutz.
Getting Xena vibes.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I liked the Xena show, was great. It was in many ways kind of Batman and Robin with adventures. I don't know.
The Red Sonja movie is being directed by the same person who directed a Solomon Kane movie that came out over a decade ago.
Yeah, I'd have his name, but I'd have to look back. Yeah, he's done stuff before. It could be good. Could be good.
Well, here, this relates if you read that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. No Red. That's why I brought it up, because it said no Red Sonja reboot because she was too sexy. There is.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
So we'll
Don't
see.
worry. Yeah.
Last here ones.
Stitch, member for 13 months, over a year. Wrap up. I just got here.
Watch the replay.
Buddy.
We keep the replay up so you can check it out. Thank you.
William Oozle for 5. Is Back to the Future a trilogy or a 3-part movie? I tend to think of it as a 3-part movie myself. But
What
it
do you
is
made as
one
one
into
movie
the
and then
next.
2 after that.
Yeah, well, sure.
Well, that's like asking if Kill Bill 1 and 2 were 2 separate films or just one, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
the only
even that
different
third
thing is
one-
Back to the Future 2 and 3 were shot consecutively, deliberately, and they never really
Yeah.
expected to do back 2 and 3 when they did the first one. So
Right.
And Kill
they had
Bill
the-
was one movie. And
Yeah, that's what I think. But
yeah,
Still
well,
think too.
it literally was when it was in production, and then it was Harvey Weinstein.
Well, and Dune, right? Dune 1 and 2 is technically one movie.
but they were not shot together.
No, they were not. No.
They should.
What about Wicked Part 1 and 2?
Oh, God.
Oh yeah.
I got an invite to see Wicked, Alan. We should talk.
No, technically, Alan, that should be one movie, right? Because the musical is one show.
I've seen the entire story. I mean, that's
Wicked
They're being
is the
really
Hobbit
low
of
key.
franchises.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Quick plug for our election special tomorrow. Alan and I will be watching the results, which I'm sure will happen. We'll know exactly. First of all, I just want election division nonsense memes to end, and I'm sure there'll be a peaceful internet and a peaceful
Of course there will.
What time are you starting?
Well, it's all going to be peaceful.
what time are we starting, by the way?
What's that?
What time are we starting?
Around 4:30.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
And we're not going to stop until we have a president.
We will stop when there's a president.
A week straight.
We will stop when there's a president. But also want to thanks to our mod, Lord Thoth. Want to thank all of you, our panelists here. Plug your channels as we wrap up. Go for it.
I just did Badgercast right now, 30 minutes. Check it out. They'll post the link. Oh, thank you. Hi, Angry Badger. We'll post the link.
Hey, you can find me on YouTube at Nerd Cookies and Nerd Cookies Rants. If you want to know why I'm getting all the Zendaya stands attacking me, you can check out my latest lore video about Shawnee.
Well, you can check out my channel every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern called Scripts on Saturdays, where actual original IP gets vetted through myself and my co-host as we discuss if it's worthy of a green light or a pass.
Rebel Riot on YouTube, Rumble, and X, and live show is on Thursdays at 6 o'clock. And I have a new Patreon up that I'm going to be promoting on Thursday's show, so be sure to watch it.
I'm Rob Burnett from the Burnett Work. Just come to the Burnett Work and look out for the new upcoming fully immersive audio drama, True Noir, which we're going to release shortly, but we're pushing it back now a little bit.
Rob, you got to let me know when it's available.
Yeah, we just made
it
a decision based on what we know about releasing these kinds of things. We're gonna push it back a little bit, not very much, just a little.
Oh,
bit.
good. All right, and we'll be back. So we'll be here tomorrow, Wednesday. I'll be at AFM in Las Vegas this Friday, and Versus back next week with the Penguin finale. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, let's do a big kiss, everybody.